Welcome back to the Roundtable. Today talking some Big East basketball and what we have learned about the conference here at the end of non-conference play. Let's get into it with 6 things we've learned so far. It started out pretty ugly for the defending champs, but they've been getting better with every game. Phil Booth is starting to settle in as the lead guy, but this team's ultimate fate largely depends on what Javon Quinterly can do this year. Quinterly is the key for this team that lacks playmakers and a true lead guard. He showed flashes of what he can do versus UConn last Saturday, but he's still not yet the game changer he can be. As a team, they're still not really playing together, but you can see the improvements every game, especially in their 4 losses. Villanova had not lost back-to-back games since 2014, but they've lost consecutive games at 2 separate points this year. First to Michigan and then Furman, both home games earlier in the season, then more recently to Penn and Kansas in road games. Both rounds of losses came at the hands of one elite team and one mid-tier team. First losing to KenPom number 4 ranked Michigan and 103 ranked Furman, then 100 ranked Penn and 5th ranked Kansas. Despite the similar rankings, the difference in how Nova lost these games is significant. In the first round of losses, Nova gave themselves no chance to win and essentially beat themselves. And while the second round of losses were not flawless games of basketball, especially the Penn loss, you felt much better about this team after the L's. They certainly did not beat themselves. This team has not lived up to expectation at this point, but they still have one of the higher ceilings in the conference and will be a factor late in the season as they continue to improve. Marcus Howard can single-handedly beat teams, and in my opinion, he gives them the ability to stick around with any team in the nation. He should get national honors and recognition. The Hauser brothers are really good as well. Sam has become a more complete player and more than just a shooter this year, while Joey already plays like an upperclassman as a freshman. He's got a chance to be a special player down the road, but he's already a major contributor as a really high IQ player who is strong with the ball and can do it all for the Golden Eagles. Overall, this is a complete team with no obvious weaknesses. They can legitimately go 10 deep. I think Marquette is easily the deepest and most complete team in the conference with the star power to match. Myles Powell is one of the best players in the country, and Seton Hall is back on the national map, despite this year looking like it could be a bit of a down year with 4 graduating senior starters from last season. Miles Cale and the role guys have been coming on recently, which has been the difference for the Hall of late. And this is another really complete team that does a lot of things well, not a lot of holes. They showed some real toughness early on as well, especially in the neutral site win over Kentucky and the true road win at Maryland. Right now they have the resume of an NCAA tournament team and are poised for another top half finish in the Big East. The conference has a real good chance to get 6 teams in the tournament this year. Marquette, St. John's, Villanova, Seton Hall, Butler, Creighton, and Providence all look like capable teams with tournament potential with their resumes at this point. Providence has a couple bad losses, but the win at Texas is probably the conference's as a whole 2nd best road win, and they can still play their way in despite looking like the 6th or 7th best team of these 7 so far. The conference isn't getting 2 number 1 seeds like last year, but the Big East should have a pretty full schedule come March. If getting 60% of the conference in the tournament is a down year, then that's a pretty good down year. Myles Powell has had a phenomenal year already, full of big-time shots, and he has been showing up versus the best competition as well. He scored 28 on 17 shots versus Kentucky and 27 on 14 shots at Maryland. He's averaging over 23 points a game while drawing so much attention from opposing defenses. His ability to get shots off while being smothered defensively has been very impressive. Marcus Howard started the season a little slow, but he can't seem to miss as we approach league play. Howard has shot 30 of 48 from the field and 19 of 25 from 3 in Marquette's last 3 games, including a highlight 45-point game versus previously undefeated Buffalo. Of course, Maury Pons has been great as well, with some added help around him this season. His turnovers are down while scoring efficiency has been way up, and he is showing an improved ability to create for others in his junior year. Pons is probably still my pick for Conference Player of the Year, but Howard and Powell will be right there as well. No surprise that any of these 3 win the award. Ty-shon Alexander has stepped into a much bigger role with Marcus Foster and Kyrie Thomas departing from Creighton this season. He's up to scoring from 5.5 a game to 17.2 a game. He's also up his 3-point percentage by over 11 percentage points to 44.9% this season. His emergence has kept this very young team nationally relevant as we enter league play. Those are probably the top 4 in the conference, but I could easily go on with Kamar Baldwin, Quentin Gooden, Phil Booth, AJ Reeves, among others. It's hard to get by without good guard play, especially at the college level, and the Big East definitely has no shortage at the guard spots. DePaul, Georgetown, and Xavier are all tournament long shots at this point based on their resumes, but there really is not a bottom to this league. Every game should be competitive this season. The lack of clear elite teams also contributes to the league's parity. How many wins will it take to win the conference this season is a pretty big question. In 5 years of the new conference, it's taken 16 or 15 wins each year to win, but that number should be lower this year. I would project 13 or 14. The apparent balance in the league is making it hard to predict how the conference shakes out. And there are still a ton of unanswered questions at this point. How good will Butler be? Former ESPN top 50 recruit and Duke transfer Jordan Tucker has just become eligible. He's played in the Bulldogs' last 3. How good can he make them? They've had plenty of ups and downs in their non-conference slate, losing to Dayton and St. Louis. They've also beaten Florida and Ole Miss. How good can Providence be? Like Butler, they've been up and down with losses to UMass and Wichita State, but most recently went to Austin and knocked off a pretty good Texas team, doing so without injured freshman standout AJ Reeves. So they're a young team, starting 3 freshmen, but they've been getting better every game. They seem like a sleeping giant in the conference, similar to last season, but it's hard to say how good they'll be by season's end. And finally, how good is St. John's? I'm confident that they're for real, but they're still hard to pin down with just one Ken Pom top 100 game, which of course they won over VCU in Brooklyn. We know they're good, but really the question is how good for St. John's. That's it from the roundtable. That's 6 things we know about the Big East so far. Let me know your season predictions in the comments and subscribe to RTT for more Big East basketball. Hope you enjoyed the video and thank you very much for watching.